Hi, my name's Gare, and today I'm going to share with you a beautiful banana, raspberry and coconut loaf recipe that I'm going to make in my Thermomix. It's so much easier and quicker when you make your cakes in a Thermomix. The thing I love mostly about my Thermomix is it cuts out a lot of time when it comes to the prep, but it's also about being able to cook food from scratch. Because of course the best food that you'll ever eat and make is the food that you make at home, because you know that it doesn't have all those preservatives and additives in it. But it's not just that. When you cook something from scratch yourself, you become a hero to your family and friends. So let's get cooking. I've preheated my oven to 160 degrees and I've lightly oiled my loaf tin with just a little bit of grapeseed oil. You can do it with butter, but I'm keeping it dairy free. So I'm using whole almonds in this recipe. I like to use the almonds with their skin on because I think it has lots of nutrients in the skin and that's better for all of us. So we're going to pop this into the bowl. We're going to weigh in 280 grams of whole almonds. They're for me later. Now we just pop on the lid. And what we want now is to create some almond meal. So all we do is go back to home. We're going to go for 10 seconds on speed 8. How easy is that? It's quicker than getting in the car and going to the shop and buying almond meal. You can make your own from whole almonds in the thermo. And that's a beautiful consistency. And I find that when you actually mill your own almonds, the loaf is even more moist. So we'll just transfer this to a bowl. Now I'm going to weigh up 275 grams of banana flesh. This is a great way to use up your old bananas. And I find the more ripe they are, the more flavour they have in the loaf. So we'll just set it on scales and weigh in. So usually about 3 to 4 bananas will give you about 275 grams. And now for the eggs. I'm using 4 large free-range eggs, and I always try to get organic eggs when I can. And I simply crack them into a bowl first, so I make sure I don't get any shell in the thermo bowl. So in go the eggs. Now I'm adding 120 grams of caster sugar, and I made this myself. I just popped some raw sugar into the bowl and whizzed it for 3 seconds, and I have the most beautiful homemade caster sugar. So that goes in, we'll just weigh that in. And now we're just going to whiz that all together, place on the lid with the cup on top, go back to home, and we're going for 5 seconds on speed 5. That's done. The mixture should be lovely and smooth now. Take the lid off, and that's looking fantastic. Now we return the almond meal back into the mixture. About a cup of coconut, and I'm using shredded coconut here. You could use desiccated or a nice moist coconut flake, whatever you have in your pantry. 1.5 teaspoons of gluten-free baking powder. And this will give the loaf a really nice light texture. So that goes in, on with the lid. 5 seconds on speed 4. And that's a nice, gentle mixing speed. Now all we need to do is add the raspberries. So I've got 120 grams of raspberries here. I'm going to use half of it in the mixture, and then the other half I'm going to sprinkle on top at the end to make it look nice and pretty. So we'll just gently sprinkle that in. And we'll be doing that for 10 seconds. Reverse, 3. And we're ready to pop this into the tin and get baking. And as you can see, it's a really nice wet mixture. That's why it's so beautiful and moist once it's baked. And it's pretty amazing to think that we've whipped this up in under 3 minutes, all from beautiful natural ingredients that I usually have in my pantry. And also, you don't have to have fresh raspberries. I often have like a packet of frozen raspberries there in my freezer. This is a pretty popular dish around our house. So now I'm going to make it really nice and pretty with the leftover raspberries and almonds. You just dot them around however you like. I'm a bit random. Love it. So that's looking gorgeous. Now I'm just going to sprinkle over the almonds. You know, that's the one thing I really love about Thermomix is I've met some really reluctant cooks over time. People say, oh, I'm time poor, I don't have enough time to bake or cook. And then when they get their Thermomix, they become obsessed with cooking amazing food. And I think it's because once you realise the power of being able to conjure up beautiful food in a short amount of time and become a hero to your family and friends, you get hooked. So this is done and looking mighty pretty. Now I'm going to put this into a 160-degree oven for about 55 to 65 minutes until it's perfectly cooked. So as you can see, the loaf is baked. I cooled it in the tin for about 10 minutes and then I turned it out and it's looking absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to serve it with some whipped cream. You could serve it with yogurt, coconut yogurt, maybe even almond butter, whatever takes your fancy, but I'm in the mood for whipping some cream. I'm just going to use the butterfly whisk that just sits perfectly on top of the blade inside. And I'm going to pour the cream into the bowl. Pop on the lid. And now with this, you don't set a time because all cream is different. It depends on the temperature of the cream or how fresh it is. We just set it on speed 3 and keep an eye on it through the little hole. Usually takes roughly around about 20 seconds. And I think we're just about there. And we'll just pop this into a bowl. And then we'll spoon it out. I feel an afternoon tea coming on. So that's all the cream. We'll pop this back on the base. Clean up a little bit. Now we're just going to ice this with a little bit of our handmade icing sugar, just a gentle sprinkle over. It's fairly low on sugar, this recipe, so it doesn't hurt to add a little bit of extra at the end, and I think it makes it look even more gorgeous. So doesn't that look fantastic and just so easy? Fantastic for afternoon teas, garden parties, pop a little slice in one of the kids' lunch boxes and they'll love you forever. Now I've got some girlfriends coming around but they're running a bit late and I don't think I can wait to taste this. But don't forget, if you want my recipe and thousands more, go to recipecommunity.com.au.